You're watching MH Nation. Get the latest NBA news, transfer rumors, and match updates fast. Like, share, and subscribe to stay ahead of the game.
His own father is begging for it. Lakers family secret. A sniper trade. And 3 more bombshells drop in 24 hours. 9 new faces. A blockbuster sign and trade for Walker Kessler. Austin Reeves locked in. And Luka Doncic now the clear face of the franchise. And guess what? The front office isn't done. They're still chasing a forward, shooting, and wing defense. Today, 5 big stories dropped, and we're ranking them from the emotional headline to the sharp trade proposal you don't want to miss. Klay Thompson's own father just publicly begged the Lakers to sign his son, and Dallas is standing in the way. Imagine your own dad going online and telling the world he's trying to bring you home to play for his favorite team. That's not a hypothetical, Lakers Nation. That's literally what happened this week with Klay Thompson's father, and it just turned a quiet buyout rumor into the most personal storyline of the entire Lakers offseason. Let's set the scene. Mychal Thompson isn't just some random Lakers fan online. He's a 2-time NBA champion from the Showtime Lakers era. And today, he's the team's longtime radio color commentator. He calls Lakers games for a living. And on Wednesday, when a fan told him to get back to work recruiting his son Klay to Los Angeles, Mychal didn't dodge the question. He fired back with a short, fired-up response, making it clear he is actively trying to make this happen. 1 minute earlier, replying to a post about reports linking the Lakers to his son, he said it would basically be a dream come true if it happened. Now here's the disclaimer we have to give you. Mychal Thompson works in the broadcast booth, not the front office. He has zero say in actual roster moves. But the reason this story is blowing up isn't just that a fan favorite is hyping up a trade. It's the timing. His comments landed just 1 day after NBA insider Jake Fisher reported that the Dallas Mavericks have been flat-out resistant to even discussing a buyout for Klay Thompson. In part, because they know the Lakers and the Miami Heat are both circling. So you've got sourced reporting and a public family campaign pointing at the exact same standoff from 2 completely different directions. Why is Dallas holding the line? It's simple leverage. Thompson is entering the final year of his contract at $17.4 million. If Dallas grants a buyout, he becomes a free agent and can sign wherever he wants for the veteran's minimum, basically giving his value away for nothing. But if Dallas trades him instead, they force an interested team to actually give something up. As long as the Lakers and Heat keep sniffing around, Dallas has every reason in the world to just sit back and wait. And this isn't the first time this exact scenario has played out. Rewind to the summer of 2024. Klay Thompson's free agency came down to 2 teams, the Lakers and the Mavericks. Dallas won that battle, and Mychal Thompson was devastated on the radio the next day, saying he was really disappointed and had been hoping his son would end up a Laker. The kicker? The Lakers were believed to have offered more money and more years than what Dallas gave him. Thompson chose Dallas anyway, largely to play alongside a rising superstar named Luka Doncic. And then, in one of the wildest twists in recent NBA history, Dallas turned around and traded that same Luka Doncic to the Lakers within a single season. So now the player Klay Thompson left home to go play with is suited up in purple and gold, playing home games at Crypto.com Arena, in the same city where Klay was born, in the same building where his dad calls the games on the radio. His old high school jersey is still hanging in Orange County. You cannot write this storyline better if you tried. Now let's talk reality, because the basketball fit and the cap sheet don't care about nostalgia. If Dallas eventually agrees to a buyout, the Lakers realistically only have minimum salary money to offer, and they'd be bidding against Miami and anyone else with a roster spot open, with Thompson himself calling the shots on where he lands. A trade is a much harder road. Matching that $17.4 million requires the Lakers to send real salary back to Dallas, and the front office has almost nothing left to sweeten a deal after emptying their tradable first-round pick supply in the Kessler trade. The most likely version of this story? Nothing happens in August. Dallas evaluates how their season goes, and this conversation resurfaces closer to the February trade deadline if the Mavericks decide to sell off pieces. On the floor, what would Klay actually bring? He shot 38.3% from 3 last season, and the Lakers' open forward spot is currently a battle between role players, so there's a real need there. But he's also 36 years old now. He wouldn't fix the team's athleticism problem, and he'd add even more age to a wing rotation that already skews veteran. Here's the bottom line, Lakers Nation. A member of the Lakers' own broadcast family is publicly campaigning for a four-time champion who has now nearly come home twice. His old co-star is the franchise centerpiece, and the team blocking the move is only holding firm because the Lakers want in. The sentiment is completely real. The leverage still belongs to Dallas. Keep this one bookmarked. It is not going away. They want Luka's old defensive stopper, and the trade package is shockingly light. What if I told you the Lakers could land a proven finals-tested defender who already knows how to play next to Luka Doncic, and it might only cost them a bench guard nobody's talking about? That trade idea is on the table right now, and it fills the exact hole this roster still has. Even after bringing in 9 new players this offseason, the Lakers still have one glaring need: a defensive wing who can actually cover for Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves on that end of the floor. They've been heavily linked to names like PJ Washington and Jonathan Kuminga all summer. But there's a name flying under the radar that might make more sense than either of them: Derrick Jones Jr. Here's why this one is interesting. Derrick Jones Jr. was a starter for the Dallas Mavericks squad that made the 2024 NBA Finals, the same team, the same era as Luka Doncic. A trade idea currently circulating would send Jones from the LA Clippers to the Lakers, built around Jaden Hardy and a future second-round pick heading back to Los Angeles' crosstown rivals. Why would the Lakers want this over the bigger names? Cost and risk. Jones isn't owed anywhere close to the roughly $90 million PJ Washington is set to make over the next 4 years. His $10.4 million salary this season is basically an expiring, low-risk, one-year rental. And unlike Kuminga, he's not chasing a massive long-term payday right now. As a rental piece, he'd be fully motivated to prove himself and try to earn a real contract next summer. What does he actually bring on the court? In those 2024 playoffs with Dallas, Jones started every single game, put up 9.1 points a night while shooting 37% from three, and took on defensive assignments against players like Paul George, Jalen Williams, and Anthony Edwards across 3 different playoff series, all the way to the finals. That is exactly the kind of proven, high-level defensive resume that should put head coach J.J. Redick's mind at ease. Picture him sliding right into the starting small forward spot next to Doncic, Reeves, Sandro Mamukelashvili, and Walker Kessler, while newer additions like Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton bring the scoring punch off the bench. And from the Clippers side, this move makes a ton of sense too. LA's other team just signed Rui Hachimura this offseason and now has a serious logjam at the wing, with rookie Keaton Wagler expected to start immediately, and second-year guy Kobe Sanders, reportedly a favorite of head coach Tyronn Lue, already locked into the rotation after starting 16 games last season. The Clippers are also projected to clear over $100 million in cap space next summer, no matter what happens with Kawhi Leonard. So moving off a player they likely won't re-sign fits their bigger financial plan perfectly. On top of that, incoming guard Jaden Hardy only carries a manageable $6 million team option, giving the Clippers total flexibility, while he provides solid depth behind starting point guard Darius Garland after averaging a career-high 12.6 points across 23 games with Washington last season, shooting 42% from deep. This is the kind of trade that doesn't grab headlines the way a superstar swap does, but it might genuinely be the smartest, cheapest fix for the exact hole in this roster. Keep an eye on this one, because low-cost, low-risk deals like this tend to actually get done. A championship two-way wing. Christian Braun could be landing next to Luka. Here's the wild 4-team framework. A 25-year-old who already won an NBA championship as a starter might be available, and there's a trade framework on the table right now involving 4 different teams that could bring him straight to Luka Doncic's side. Let's break down exactly how complicated and exactly how real this one is. The Lakers lost a lot when LeBron James walked away. Not just production, but veteran leadership that's nearly impossible to replace with a single player. So instead of chasing a like-for-like replacement, the front office appears to be widening the search for another impact wing, And one name that's popped up is Denver Nuggets forward Christian Braun. Braun is a tough target on paper because of his contract, but there's a creative multi-team framework being floated that could make it work. Here's how it reportedly looks. The Lakers would receive Christian Braun and a 2029 second-round pick. In exchange, the Denver Nuggets would receive Nikola Jovic, Jake LaRavia, Dalton Knecht, and two 2031 second-round picks. The Miami Heat would receive Cam Johnson, while the Detroit Pistons would take on Jared Vanderbilt to help balance the money across all four teams. Why would Denver even entertain moving a player who helped them win a title as a rookie? Because their financial situation is genuinely difficult. Braun signed a $125 million rookie-scale extension with Denver last October after a breakout 2024-25 season. But with the Nuggets star trio already locked into massive contracts they signed 4 years ago, that number looks a lot tougher to carry now. There's also chatter that Denver is preparing to make a big offer to young wing Peyton Watson, who's reportedly seeking a deal similar to or even bigger than what Braun got, which only adds more pressure to move on from one of the two. For the Lakers, clearing a trade like this would require moving out real salary. Guys like Vanderbilt, LaRavia, and Knecht would get split up between two other teams to match Braun's incoming money. It's a tight fit. Adding Doncic, Reeves, Walker Kessler, and a healthy Braun would push the Lakers right up near the luxury tax line, likely capping them at the first apron. That's a real financial commitment, especially after they just gave Austin Reeves a brand new extension this summer. So is Braun actually worth the headache? His numbers took a step back after that breakout year, which is part of why his own extension has been questioned around the league. But the Lakers aren't necessarily hunting for a high-usage scorer here. They need complementary pieces around Doncic. If Braun can simply get back to producing what he gave Denver in 2024-25, this trade looks like a real win. The concern is health. He only played 44 games last season after playing above 70 games for most of his career before that. So durability is a legitimate question mark the front office would have to live with. 4 teams, a title-winning role player, and a Lakers roster trying to build the next great supporting cast around Luka Doncic. This is one of the more fascinating what-if trades on the board right now. One of the best three-point shooters, AJ Green in the entire NBA, could be landing next to Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is one of the best playmakers alive, which means you can never, ever have too much shooting around him. And there's now a trade pitch that would hand him one of the most efficient three-point shooters in basketball. Here's the deal that could make it happen. The Lakers are already stacked with shooting after this offseason. Guys like Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, and Matisse Thybulle are all threats from deep who will make defenses pay if they help off Doncic. But there's a hypothetical trade idea that would bring in Milwaukee Bucks sharpshooter AJ Green, and honestly, the fit makes a lot of sense. Here's the framework being floated. The Lakers would receive AJ Green and a 2033 second-round pick, while the Milwaukee Bucks would receive Dalton Knecht and Jake LaRavia. Bear in mind, this is a hypothetical scenario meant to spark debate, not a confirmed front office pursuit, but the logic behind why both sides might actually do it is worth understanding. For Milwaukee, who are now in the post-Giannis Antetokounmpo era, moving a 26-year-old undrafted sharpshooter for 2 younger players with real long-term upside is an easy sell. Knecht and LaRavia, 25 and 24 respectively, would get a real chance to find their footing on a team with lower expectations and more minutes available. And what exactly would the Lakers be getting in AJ Green? He's not just a good shooter, he's one of the best in the entire league. He shot 42% from three-point range last season, and among current players with at least 300 career threes made, Green ranks 4th in accuracy. Last season alone, he put up a career-high 10.4 points per game while hitting 40% from deep for the 4th straight year, dating back to his rookie season. That's not a hot streak, that's a proven, elite shooting profile. Outside of Luke Kennard, who the Lakers picked up around the midseason trade deadline, this roster hasn't really had a true, dependable knockdown shooter coming off the bench. Green slots perfectly into that exact role, someone Luka Doncic can find in the corner or on the move and trust to make defenses pay every single time. and there's already some league speculation that Milwaukee could be open to moving him this offseason, which means if this door is really open even a little bit, the Lakers front office should be one of the first teams calling. It might not be the flashiest name on this list, but adding elite, high-percentage shooting around a playmaker like Doncic is one of the simplest ways to make an entire offense more dangerous. Forget the expensive names, this Grizzlies forward might be the smartest, cheapest fix all along. While everyone's obsessing over the big names like Jonathan Kuminga and PJ Washington, there's a quieter option sitting in Memphis that could solve the Lakers' starting forward problem for way less money and way less risk. Let's talk about why this pitch actually makes a lot of sense. The Lakers are in the market for a forward who can step directly into the starting lineup and hold his own on both ends of the floor. That search has taken them down a few paths already. Jonathan Kuminga has been the rumored top target for over a month, and PJ Washington has picked up steam as a speculative option too. But there's a case to be made that the smartest call is actually the Memphis Grizzlies and forward Taylor Hendricks. Let's be honest about the trade-offs here. Kuminga is a far more productive scorer, averaging 20.2 points per 36 minutes compared to Hendricks' 13.1. Washington has already started for a team that made the NBA Finals, while Hendricks hasn't even made his first postseason appearance yet. On paper, the other two guys look like better players and maybe even better fits. But here's the risk factor nobody's talking about enough. The Lakers have already handed out 4-year contracts to 4 different players this summer. Adding another long-term deal for an unproven fit is a real gamble. If they land Kuminga, it likely comes through a sign and trade, and league rules require those deals to run a minimum of 3 years with at least 1 year guaranteed. If Kuminga won't accept non-guaranteed money, the Lakers would be locking in multiple guaranteed years just to see if the fit works, despite his inconsistent outside shooting. Washington, meanwhile, is entering year 1 of a 4-year, nearly $89 million extension. Bringing him aboard would give the Lakers 5 players on 4-year deals, 4 of whom haven't played a single game together yet. Add in the near certainty of a max-level extension for Doncic himself, and the Lakers would be committing to a very expensive 6-man rotation before ever seeing it on the floor. Taylor Hendricks flips that entire risk equation. He's in the final year of his rookie-scale contract, owed just under $7.8 million for next season, and becomes a restricted free agent next summer, meaning this is essentially a 1-year audition with total flexibility on both sides. Yes, he has real injury history, missing all but 3 games back in 2024 to 25, but the short-term nature of the deal is exactly what makes him worth the swing. If his defensive potential translates, the Lakers could throw him at multiple positions, out on the perimeter against wings, or down in the post against bigger, stronger players. He's also a career 35.4% three-point shooter, which is the exact same career mark as PJ Washington, just at a fraction of the long-term financial risk. And why would Memphis even consider moving him? Because they're overloaded at forward. They drafted Cameron Boozer and Kareem Lopez, acquired Quinton Post and Isaiah Stewart to play alongside and behind center Zach Edey, and even traded for Jeremy Grant. Add proven wings like Cedric Coward, Ty Jerome, Gigi Jackson, and Jalen Wells to that mix, and playing time is about to get extremely tight in Memphis. Hendricks has only appeared in 26 games for the Grizzlies so far, which makes him even more available. A realistic offer from the Lakers could involve either Dalton Connect or Jake LaRavia, plus a future second-round pick if needed. Worst case, Memphis says no, and the Lakers know they at least tried at a reasonable cost. Best case, they land a genuine defensive prospect on a short-term, low-risk deal instead of locking into another 4-year commitment on a roster that already has plenty of those. Sometimes the boring move is the smart move, and this might be one of those times. And there you have it, Lakers Nation. 5 stories, 5 very different pieces of this roster puzzle, all breaking within the same 24-hour window. You've got the emotional family storyline with Klay Thompson still hanging over Dallas, a low-cost defensive fix sitting right across town with the Clippers, a massive 14 blockbuster that could land a former champion, an elite sharpshooter pitch out of Milwaukee, and a quiet, low-risk forward option sitting in Memphis that might make more sense than anything else on this list. The front office clearly isn't done. This roster is going to keep evolving all the way up until training camp, and we are going to be right here covering every single development the second it breaks. So let me know down in the comments, out of these 5, which move gets you the most excited? Klay coming home? The defensive upgrade? Or one of these bigger blockbuster swings?